In the sweltering summer of 1985, a shadow fell over California. A wave of terror gripped the state, spreading from Los Angeles to San Francisco. A brutal, seemingly random killer was on the loose, breaking into homes under the cover of darkness. The media dubbed him the Night Stalker. For a whole 14 months, this guy was like a ghost, dodging one of the biggest manhunts California has ever seen. He left behind a chilling trail of fear and chaos. Who was this phantom, and how could he operate with such terrifying impunity? The story of his capture is not just about police work. It's about a community that refused to live in fear and fought back. The story begins in June 1984, but the intensity of the attacks escalated dramatically in the summer of 1985. The Night Stalker's crimes were marked by their sheer brutality and lack of a clear pattern. His victims ranged in age from 6 to 82. He targeted men, women, and children from different neighborhoods and backgrounds. This randomness was his most powerful weapon, creating a state of collective paranoia. No one felt safe. He would enter homes through unlocked doors or windows, attacking his victims while they slept. The crimes involved a horrifying array of weapons and methods, often leaving satanic symbols at the scene, adding another layer of dread to his terrifying legacy. Throughout this period, the Los Angeles County Sheriff's Department and the LAPD were under immense pressure. They pulled together a huge team, putting in countless hours to crack the case. But the killer was like a ghost. He left few clues and seemed to vanish into the night after each attack. He stole cars, changed his methods, and moved across the state, always staying one step ahead. As the body count rose to over 13 confirmed murders, with many more assaults, the public's fear reached a fever pitch. Gun sales skyrocketed, and folks were boarding up their windows, sleeping in shifts to stay safe. The bright, sunny picture of Southern California turned into one of closed doors and restless nights. The question on everyone's lips was not if the Night Stalker would strike again, but when and where. The big moment finally hit on August 24, 1985. After a wild attack in Mission Viejo, the stalker made off with a Toyota station wagon. Can you believe it? A sharp-eyed teenager, James Romero, noticed the suspicious car circling his neighborhood and jotted down part of the license plate number. He reported it to the police, a small act of vigilance that would change everything. The police located the abandoned car a few days later. Forensic specialists carefully lifted a key piece of evidence, one fingerprint from the rearview mirror. This fingerprint was the key. It was immediately rushed to a brand new, cutting-edge piece of technology, the Automated Fingerprint Identification System, or a FIS. At the time, a FIS was a revolutionary database, and this case would become one of its first major successes. The system quickly dove into its criminal records database and, just like that, found a match in minutes. The print belonged to a 25-year-old drifter from Texas with a minor criminal record, Richard Ramirez. For the first time, the faceless monster had a name and a face. Investigators retrieved his mugshot from a prior traffic violation. The 14-month reign of terror was about to come to a dramatic end. On Friday, August 30th, the Los Angeles police held a press conference. They released Ramirez's scowling mugshot to the public, plastering it on every television screen and newspaper front page. The hunter was now the hunted, unaware that his identity had been compromised. Richard Ramirez was on a bus returning to Los Angeles from Arizona. On a sunny August 31st, he entered a liquor store. And there, on the front page of a Spanish-language newspaper, he saw it, his own face staring back at him. The headline screamed El Matador, the killer. Panic set in. Ramirez bolted from the store, beginning a desperate attempt to escape. He tried to carjack a woman, but she fought back. He ran down the street, attempting to steal another car, but the owner, Jose Burgoyne, pulled him out. By now, a crowd was forming. People poured out of their homes, recognizing the face from the news. It's the killer. Someone shouted. What followed was an extraordinary scene of citizen justice. A group of about 40 neighbors, armed with nothing but courage and a steel rod, gave chase. They cornered the terrified Ramirez, subdued him, and held him down until the police arrived. The reign of the Night Stalker wasn't ended by a high-speed police chase or a tactical raid, but by the very community he had terrorized. He was beaten and bloodied, but alive, captured by the people he had hunted. The trial of Richard Ramirez kicked off in 1988, and let me tell you, it was a total media circus. This trial went on forever and cost a ton, making it one of the longest and priciest in U.S. history. Crazy, right? Ramirez, ever defiant, appeared in court with a pentagram drawn on his palm and often flashed sinister smiles at the cameras. The prosecution presented an overwhelming amount of evidence, linking him to a horrifying catalog of crimes. Survivors courageously shared their stories, facing their attacker in court. In September 1989, after a year-long trial, the jury found Richard Ramirez guilty on all counts: 13 counts of murder, 5 attempted murders, 11 sexual assaults, and 14 burglaries. He was sentenced to death 19 times over. When the sentence was read, Ramirez simply said, "Big deal. Death is part of the deal. Catch you at Disneyland." He never showed remorse. Ramirez would spend the next 24 years on death row at San Quentin State Prison. He never faced his execution, but finally on June 7, 2013, he died from complications of B-cell lymphoma. He was 53 years old. Justice, in its own way, had the final say. The legacy of the Night Stalker case is complex. It's a dark chapter in California's history, a chilling reminder of the evil that one person can inflict. But it's also a story of resilience, technological advancement, and community heroism. We remember the victims, the innocent lives cut short or forever altered by his brutality. Their stories must never be forgotten. We also remember the power of a community that stood up to fear. A teenager jotted down a license plate number, and neighbors in East Tellis stepped up instead of just watching. Their bravery teamed up to stop a monster's rampage. The capture of the Night Stalker proved that even in the face of overwhelming darkness, courage and unity can bring the light of justice.